We'll do it live, James. Like I told you, wait. Oh, hey, Internet. This week, absolutely no news about Sean Parker's wedding. You're welcome, Internet. The U.S. military is working on new policies for cyber war, while Congress wants to make a database of every person legally allowed to work in the country. Nothing could possibly go wrong there. All this, along with complaints, make use of Technophilia. My name's Justin Pott. You're listening to us live right now, or later in the future. Keep doing that. With me today from the UK, as always, is my friend James Bruce. How's it going, James?
Who is Sean Parker?
See, you don't know, and I already promised people we're not going to talk about it, so that's it. Not going to talk about it. Right. Also with me today...
Was that it? Was that all like that?
Is Dave LeClaire. What's up, Dave?
His name is Sean Parker.
No, we're done. Just Google it.
A member of Project Mayhem has a name. That's a Fight Club reference for anybody who doesn't like movies.
Hey, so little public service announcement. We've switched over the login system for anyone who hasn't noticed. We switched from Giga to something called PunchTab.
Okay. And at makeuseof.com, yeah.
We had about 60,000 users that went across okay, but some of them may have lost some points. If that was you, don't worry. Just drop me an email, james@makeuseof.com. I can check your old account and then just throw the points back on the new one. It's very simple, but it's not something I can automate. So
you heard him. If you're a MakeUseOf user, if you've had points and they're gone, email James personally. And even if you haven't, just email him anyways.
And today I'm going to be trying to build a Lego Rubik's Cube solver, but I warn you, the instructions for building it are 111 pages. This ain't going to happen, but we'll see how far I get.
Well, at the top of the show, as always, we're going to talk about the latest news from makeuseof.com. This is news you can use, I guess, is the idea, right, Dave?
That's the rumor. That's what I've heard on the internets.
And the top story we've got here in this quick section is Xbox Music now available in web browsers. So if you like the Xbox Music experience, you can listen to it in a browser. Is there anything more to it than that, Dave?
Not really. It was just that before you could only use it on Windows 8 and Xbox 360, so it was kind of like Spotify, but gimped because you could only use it on those platforms that no one actually uses, and now you can use it on anything with a web browser.
Cool. So Mac, Linux, well, maybe not Linux. Maybe Microsoft specifically blocks Linux.
It should work. It says it works in any web browser, so...
No, there you go. Cool.
Is this just like Spotify? Is it something I should care about?
It's like Spotify, but it's you can also buy music from it if you want. So basically, yeah, it's Spotify with iTunes sprinkled
buy music
into it.
and put it on
does it work in foreign countries like the UK?
Oh, probably not.
You know that I don't know actually. I don't know if they.
That sucks.
You look into that. I'm going to talk about something that is available not in the US, but in other countries. Firefox OS phones. They're for sale right now. It's an operating system based completely around Firefox and its Gecko engine. Everything you do on the phone, from the music player to the dialing of the phone, basically runs within Mozilla Firefox itself. And you can try it out on your computer. I'm working on a tutorial for that right now, but there's just a Firefox extension you need to install, and you can try out the system. Kind of cool. In place of traditional apps, it relies completely on HTML5 and web apps. My favorite thing is there's like a dynamic search, so you don't have to install an app to use it. You can just... So I typed Toronto Maple Leafs, for example, and I just got a list of results. So like the NHL website came in, but it was the site specific about the team. So anyways, you can check it out, see if you're interested. It's not going to compete with like Android and iOS directly. It's more of a low-end alternative to them. But it's pretty cool. It's lightweight and it's fast.
Do you think it's a low-end alternative? I think it's the future, actually.
You think it's the future? For now, at least the phones that it's on are very lightweight.
Yeah, I mean, the hardware itself doesn't matter, though, right? It's an open OS, which means you can put it on anything.
I mean, but unlike Android, there's no patents. It's completely license-free. You can just put it on whatever phone you want. So I think it's going to get out of Android's
market. The fact that it uses web technologies at its core, rather than having to learn an entirely separate language like Java on Android or iOS, whatever, is pretty much a game changer, I would say.
It's worth noting that this is exactly what Steve Jobs pitched the iPhone as working before he implemented the App Store, and it did not catch on.
I mean, that's true.
That's how apps were supposed to work on the iPhone. They were supposed to be web apps that you drag the icon. No one did it. The App Store made it simple.
But web apps have come a long way since the iPhone launched. HTML5 is so that could make a big difference in the amount of people that use it. But I still can't see this I still have a hard time seeing this surpassing Android and iOS. They're so cemented in people's lives.
No, but people said the same thing, right? You can find so many. I can't see the iPhone. I mean, it's cool, but I can't see it taking out BlackBerry. I mean, it's so cemented in people's lives.
True.
Stuff does change. Stuff does change. But I think for now, it's a great alternative to these systems if you want something lightweight that can run on really simple hardware that doesn't have the limitations. You can use whatever app you want as long as it runs on the web. So, pretty cool. Check it out. You can test it on your computer right now, see what it's like. The MP3 player of it will work, but it won't play MP3s, just Oak Vorbis files. So just a warning there. It's not broken. They just don't have the patents included for that. Linux users want Google Drive. This is surprising to Windows and Mac users who installed it, realized that it really didn't do much because you can't edit your Google Docs offline, and then uninstalled it. But Linux users want it. There's 15,000 signatures up on a site right now. Will Google listen? What do you think, Dave?
God, what's wrong with them? Seriously.
Does anyone here actually use Google Drive, or should we just move right along? I had it installed.
I have the program installed on my phone, but everything else I just use in the web.
Well, on the phone it's useful because that's the primary way on your phone you can edit your documents. Google Drive for the desktop is just file syncing, right?
It's just Dropbox, yeah, pretty much.
But having your Google Docs sync to your desktop isn't useful because it's not like it converts them to files you can edit without the web, right?
You can go the other way and sync your images like you would with Dropbox.
That's true.
I only use it on the phone because I want my spreadsheet from my game collection.
I mean, Linux users for now
can't remember what games I own.
Oh my goodness. That's a bit of an obscure user case, shall we say.
Well, you try going and looking for video games when you have 600 already and try to remember what 600 games you have. It's impossible.
No, I have a life.
You don't.
Lego models.
Says the guy building a Lego Rubik's Cube solver, yeah. I like, Justin, I like the image you chose for this. If anybody clicks the news story.
Oh, the penguin? You like the penguin?
The penguin staring at the Google Drive logo. It's like looking up at the sun.
I've been putting a bit more work into the images. I don't know if you saw my tux holding a portal gun for the,
I don't know if I looked at that one.
If I were an actual designer, I'd probably be paid as much to make these things as I do to write the article here, but what? That's not true at all.
Probably not.
Boomerang releases a full-blown email client for Android. Now, Boomerang, if you're not familiar with it, is a browser extension you can install that allows you to have an email disappear from your inbox until later. A lot of people subscribe to a philosophy called Inbox Zero, where you try to get everything out of your inbox so that only stuff you need to act on is there. But sometimes there's stuff you need to act on in a week, 2 weeks, a month. Boomerang puts it forward. That's great on a browser, but browsers are becoming less relevant as more and more people primarily interact with their mail on their phone. And there isn't really a plug-in system for any of the major email systems for phones, are there? Certainly not iOS or Android. Anyways, so Boomerang just went and made a full-blown email client with their features in it. It's pretty cool. It's kind of a nice lightweight alternative to Google's official Gmail app, so check it out, read more about it.
Wait, you mean apps that just let you delay, treat your inbox as a to-do list, basically?
So, if you do Inbox Zero, I don't know if you do, I do.
No.
The goal is to keep your inbox empty, because if something's in your inbox, it means that's something you need to do, right? But sometimes you'll get an email that'll say something like, hey, in 2 weeks, can you do this? And that's annoying, because you can't act on it right now, so it just sits in your inbox. So the idea is you can click, throw this away, have it come back to my inbox in 2 weeks. So it'll disappear, and then it'll come back to your inbox when you're ready to deal with it.
Yeah, so there's an app called Mail Pilot, which does that as well. I can't remember what the other big famous one is.
Well, this was the most famous one for Gmail, and now they've got a full-blown email client, so you can do it on the web. But my point is they had to build a full email client because you can't do a plug-in. Are you eating chips or something?
I'm trying to find Lego bits, dude.
Oh, okay. Right in front of your microphone. Nice.
Why would you
Cool.
suggest I do it?
Oh, that's it for that. Make use of Technophilia podcast. Defender internet security software. Dave here had the opportunity to try out. What do you think, Dave?
I think it is a very good antivirus program that does a little bit of everything. So it does your standard, your standard antivirus nonsense, scanning your computer, finding stuff that's wrong. But it also has Facebook protection, which will scan your Facebook and let you know if you have any friends whose profiles are compromised.
Will it prevent you from making bad decisions on Facebook, or is that still up to humans?
Yeah, there's actually a hand that reaches out of your computer and smacks you when you're about to post something stupid. But yeah, so it's got that. It's got it's optional, but you can get identity theft protection in it, so you can set it up where it'll protect your credit cards and all that stuff, keep you from getting your social stolen, all that good stuff. Parental controls, and then it has a wallet feature which lets you keep track of your payment options safely. Password manager. So it's kind of like all those programs different programs you would install on your computer for security. It kind of takes them all and it smushes them into one program, which
cool. And we're giving away the
10.
software at makeuseof.com. 10 of them. There's a link right here in the summary that you can use to sign up. And if there isn't, we'll put it there. Don't worry. But so yeah, Bitdefender Internet Security. They sponsored the show this week. Check out the giveaway, and if you like the show,
and don't
check
forget,
them out.
along with that, they are through us giving away 2 Windows 8 laptops. So that's part of the same deal. So you can enter to win a license, and if you don't win a license, hey, you might walk away with a laptop instead. So
yeah,
and it's
Bitdefender
one-year license.
Internet Security. Check it out at makeuseof.com. You'll find the link in the sidebar, I believe.
And
moving on
our
to the
host.
editorial section here. I've got a shelf full of books. I love them. I read them. I even use them as a backdrop for my wife's science videos. And sometimes I lend them to friends. It's not complicated lending out a book. You just hand your friend the book. If you're lucky, your friend brings it back and you get to share a great conversation. If not, your friend has a book and you don't anymore. Simple, elegant. Since the dawn of human civilization, this is how lending things worked. You can allow someone to borrow something. You can give someone something you don't want anymore. You can do whatever you want with things you physically own. It's simple, and it's not something most people want to change, but recent news from the world of video games highlights how this basic thing, lending something to a friend, is becoming complex, even if you physically own the object. The idea of ownership is shifting, if not disappearing, as we replace books with ebooks, video games with discs, with digital downloads, and CDs with streaming services. You can read the rest of my thoughts at makeuseof.com. There's a link in the description. Do you think the definition of ownership is changing, James?
Oh, undoubtedly.
Do you think it's a good thing?
Well, yeah, it is when you're talking about digital products, because they're not the same as a physical product. They don't degrade.
They don't degrade, that's true. I can see why libraries, for example, have to work out deals about ebooks. I don't know if you've heard much about this, James.
No, but I would imagine they do, yeah.
Yeah, because a library book would be handled a lot, and it would have a shelf life. It would disappear. It would physically decompose, and then the library would have to get a new one, right? That's not the case anymore. So, of course, publishers are nervous about giving a library a right to lend out a book forever. So that's true. But it seems like the shelf life of a digital project is tied directly to the company you buy it from. And sometimes companies disappear, right, Dave?
It happens occasionally. I mean, look at I remember when Microsoft shut down the original Xbox Live servers, and everybody was all pissed off that they couldn't play their copy of Halo 2 anymore. I mean, and that wasn't even a digital disc, but it was.
They could, just not online.
Well, yeah, right. But who's going to play the single player of Halo 2 7 years after it came out? I think we all.
Did someone not just hack that together to work anyway? I mean, come on, it can't be.
I don't know, actually. But either way, that's still annoying.
Is on you have to find a way to make it work. You have to run your own illegal server to play your game.
But I guess if you think about it, that's the same as a physical book. If you have to do your own thing with said physical book, I guess.
You have to read it? Is that what you mean? What are you saying?
You have to take care of that book yourself. It's not the company that makes it is not taking care of the book for you. Just
well,
like
that's true.
Microsoft
So
is no
it's a little
longer
different for online play. But an ebook is on your e-reader. It just sits there. But there's a chance. So I've got a Kobo reader, for example,
I never
and
heard
I've
of
purchased a couple books for it. It's like the Canadian version of, anyways.
it. Canada.
It's Canada Day. You didn't send me a card. I'm upset.
You live in America now.
America. Yeah, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow's America Day. They don't call it that, though. That would be way catchier. See, Canada Day is a better name than the 4th of July. It should just be America Day. Anyways, Random Aside, which is the unofficial name of the show. Random Aside with James Bruce and Dave Leclerc and Justin Pott. The books exist on my device, and as long as I have my device, I can keep reading it. There's no online check or anything like that. But hypothetically, if Kobo goes out of business, and I can't buy a new Kobo device that'll work with it, I could just be out of luck. I can't read my books anymore.
But that same thing could happen with a physical book if
I burn it, sure.
Yeah. No, like if I can't think of a publisher's name I was going to use as an example, but if Joe Publisher goes out of business and you ruin your physical copy of your book, just like you ruin your Kobo reader,
yeah,
you can't get that book anymore.
Now, in theory, this would all be fine if the public domain rules worked somewhat sane, right? Because then in 25 years, everyone could just download a copy of whatever book as many times as they want, because it would be in the public domain. But the public domain, I swear it sounds like you're eating chips.
Sorry.
Is basically like, what, 100 years plus life of the author at this point? So I don't know if humanity is going to last that long. So
well, there's always
that
piracy.
changes it. There's always, I mean, that's kind of the backup. I think we've talked about it before. There's this interesting chart you can find on the web of access to certain books based on what year they are. And books from the 1800s, there's thousands. And then there's this drop-off where there's like just a couple hundred books you can still access from that year because they're not in the public domain, so you can't get them for free online. But they're not worth printing because you wouldn't make a lot of money selling it, so you just can't get it as a net result. So
Unless you go to
you're
piracy.
Right. I think the digital future makes more sense for ownership long term if public domain laws were somewhat sane. They're not.
Maybe someday.
I don't understand this fascination with owning everything.
This fascination with owning I mean, my point, and if you read the rest of my article, is it's simpler. It's just simpler. But what are you saying?
I've never understood that feeling to buy a DVD of absolutely everything that, you know, people who have these huge collections of hundreds of DVDs and Blu-rays and what have you. I just don't understand it. It's just just watch the movie, enjoy it, and be done with it. Don't
you're
feel like you need to put it on a shiny disc.
Certain movies wanting a copy. I've got the Lord of the Rings extended edition trilogy somewhere here. That makes sense to me because it's something I want to watch at least once a year, right? But
fair enough.
Other movies, not so much. So
I don't know. I guess once you understand this concept of piracy, that anything is available on the internet, you kind of get over this fact that you don't have to own everything. You can just go download it the next time you want it. Not that I do that, but that's must be how people think, theoretically.
Who are new listeners, James here is our pro-piracy pundit, and that's kind of his role. Dave here is the game collector, and I don't have a thing, do I? What's my thing?
You keep us organized.
Okay. I keep
Voice of reason.
every once in the next subject.
You see what happens when you're not here. It's a shit show, man.
I didn't see it. What do you think about the concept of ownership? Let us know here. There was a lot of interesting comments under the article, so you should definitely check those out as well, including Dragonmouth using a smiley face, which was kind of new for me. I don't think I've seen that before. No, wait, no, that was under the Firefox OS thing.
Oh.
Yeah, Dragonmouth used a smiley face in a comment. It's a big day I make use of. If you don't know what that means, well, let's just say he doesn't use a lot of smiley faces. There was an open letter to the games media by Samantha Allen last week. Dave, did you read this?
I skimmed through it, but she lost me because I lost interest in what she was saying.
Okay.
I found it to be overly. She was just using flowery language just to try to get her stupid point across, and I thought it was kind of stupid. So.
Her stupid point, we'll get back to that later. Her basic point was that the games media needs to be more actively involved in curtailing the sexism, homophobia, etc., common in comment sections by administering comment sections was the essential conclusion. To quote the letter, when you encounter bigotry on your own sites, I often hear your staff on podcasts, on Twitter, etc., throw their hands up in the air and say, that's the internet for you. You adopt a posture of passive defeatism, suggesting that nothing can be done. This is where I have to be terse. Your chagrin is not good enough. You have more power and authority than you're letting on. You're simply choosing not to exercise it. There's a lot of complicated questions here about freedom of speech, about what gaming culture is, if it fundamentally can change. I thought the letter was quite good myself. I did read the whole thing, Dave, but you said her stupid point. What do you mean by that?
I think let people say whatever the hell they want. It's not up to the website to choose what people say and what they don't say. They can choose what their authors say and what their authors don't say, but I don't really care what people say in the comment section. But then again, I'm a straight male who doesn't have
You're a straight white male.
Straight white male who doesn't have any of these things that would offend me when I go to a comment section. So if I see somebody say something is, use a word, I don't get offended by it at all. So.
Yeah. Well, because there's nothing as a white male who is straight that anyone can say that would particularly offend you.
Yeah, not really.
I mean, there's nothing like how can I offend you?
I'm a white straight male American. I don't.
You
know.
have advantages in almost every social situation. Like that's not gonna hurt you. Like it's not really possible to hurt your feelings.
So while it is hard for me to put myself into the perspective of somebody going to that website and reading the comment section, but then again, I don't read comment sections either when I go to websites. I go there and read the article and then I leave. Yeah, I don't.
See, I'm the opposite. I scroll right past the articles and go straight to the comments. That's
like, does this article have a comment section? I don't even. It does.
You think I'm paying attention and running this podcast right now, but I'm just looking over here at the comments constantly. Guys, where's the comments? What's going on?
I certainly don't care.
Who is this Samantha Allen person, and why should I care what she thinks?
She's been a gaming journalist for a long time.
I've never heard of her before.
She has faced a lot of slack.
I think we should add that at Make Use Of, we do carefully check all comments, and we don't allow anything that's hateful or downright.
But I would also say, as a site, Make Use Of attracts a more positive
because it doesn't
than some of these other sites.
Well, except for when you talk about the Xbox One, then you get them. Or iOS, then you get them. Anything
that's linked to on Reddit, I guess, then we get a different audience.
Oh, she's a transgendered woman. I just noticed that in her description of herself. I find it odd that that's the very first thing she used to describe herself. So she didn't talk about what she's done, or she's just
part of her identity. And that I think that the context for the article is she wrote an article for Kotaku, I think, and no one commented on the article because in her bio at the bottom it mentioned she was transgendered, and it was just a shit show. Everyone was just talking crap.
Oh, come on. Did they not comment on the article because of that, or because it was a crap article?
But wait. But why put that right in your description? I don't put in my description, I make use of that I'm a white male, or you know what I mean? Like, I just...
Well, because for some people it is a strong part of their
identity. As a white male...
I just put my description, my credentials are, and what I do. I don't put my sexual orientation or anything in my bio. Why even put it there?
Which, by the way, transgender doesn't actually say anything about your sexual orientation.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't think of the word. For that. Your
gender identification, Dave, is the word you're looking
for. Let's get really deep in the gender studies aspect of this.
So anyway, but why put that right in?
I think in the context of this letter, she puts that right there because that is the context in which she has these complaints. That is where she has run into trouble with the gaming community, and that's where she thinks the gaming community can do better.
Well, I would agree that it can do better. The gaming community is a bunch of assholes.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we can do better.
Go play a game of Dota. You'll see like the scum of the universe, just shittiest human beings to ever walk the face of the planet. Just go in that game and just do nothing but insult people all day.
And here's the thing: gaming should be about the game.
About having fun, because it's a game.
That's what it should be about, and it should be welcoming for everyone because it's a hobby. You're moving bits on a screen in order to entertain yourself. Like, there's not a lot of identity to this at the end of the day. And you should be welcoming to anyone who shares your interests.
There aren't many situations on Earth in which any kind of people are thrown together into a mixing bowl, other than multiplayer online gaming. It is the only thing I can think of. I mean, even if you walk down the street, you can actively cross the street and avoid anyone you like.
Yeah.
But multiplayer gaming, you're thrown in there with them. You have no idea who these people are. You can't choose. You can't. There's no filter on Halo for non-14-year-old dumbass white boys.
And you're forced to work with them as like. It'd be like instead of us three doing the podcast, if somebody was
he doesn't read articles, he just reads comments. So there you go. He's like me in that regard.
So yeah, it'd be like somebody replacing me and James and just saying, "All right, Justin, do the podcast with these two random assholes that you don't know." You know, that's kind of what it is when you're playing an online game. It's like, all right, now you have to work together with these two people that you have no idea who they are or what they're like.
That's kind of how I feel every week, anyways.
There is some validity when people say, you know what, that is just what the internet is. That is just what gaming is. You can't get around that because it is a mix of everyone. And
no, but I think our site shows that you can moderate comments and have it work. It's possible.
I think what the gaming websites are afraid of is if they moderated those comments, they'd have no comments.
That's it's probably a legitimate concern, but I mean, So Lifehacker had a rule that I really admired, and that's that anyone who points out a grammar mistake as a comment without saying anything else, they're banned from the comments section. And it's not because they don't like people pointing out their grammar mistakes, it's because it doesn't add to the discussion.
It's because they had way too many. That's
homophobia, gender-specific things doesn't add to the discussion. And it's a different philosophy for running a comment section, but it's one approach. Just, is it about the game? If it's not about the game,
but what if it's about the game with a homophobic slur? Like,
what if it's about the game with Bush did 9/11, Ron Paul 2016, peace out. Like you would remove that crap, right?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, but what if it's just they're saying like this game, instead of saying this game is bad, they say this game is, and then they use the word gay. Would that's technically talking about the game, but it's
then I would leave it up to the other commenters to just respond that being gay isn't bad. So your statement doesn't mean anything. Anyways, there's nuance here. We could dig to this all day. Whatever.
Yeah, we got other stories to get to.
Speaking of terrible comments, Reddit. The iPhone 4 leaker from back in I can't remember. He became famous for leaking the iPhone 4. He found it in a bar, basically, and he sold it to Gizmodo for $5,000. He was on Reddit. He was talking about his experience. It sounds kind of terrible. To quote the first thing he said here, Gizmodo told me they would give me $5,000 for the story and another $3,000 after it was confirmed by Apple to be real. They knew there was no way in hell I was going to be able to ask for the $3,000 after the story aired, and I didn't. I ended up having to hire an expensive lawyer and had to pay them much more than $5,000. So good job, man.
Yeah, am I supposed to feel bad for this guy?
I don't think so. I mean, if I found a phone in a bar, my main question would be, how do I get this back to the owner? He found it, and apparently he admits it was his 21-year-old self, and he wouldn't do this again. But his first thought was apparently, how can I make money off this?
Which is fine. I mean, that I don't even have a problem with that being his first thought, but I also don't feel bad that it backfired. I mean, that's the risk you take when you do something douchey. There's a chance it could blow up in your face. Hey, shouldn't have been a douche then,
douchey and something illegal. I mean, if you find something,
too. He did steal it, even if it's
it's stolen. Yeah,
device.
I mean, finders keepers is not legal precedent, believe it or not. I mean, if you find
it is in Davetopia. We own it. I own everything.
It's like the 10th Amendment to the Constitution. Finders keepers, losers weepers. Yeah. Have fun. I would love to read court decisions based on
Why isn't that a thing? Let's make this happen. Let's make this a reality, guys.
You know, in Japan, there's actually a law that says you have to pay a reward, a set percentage of reward, if something is found and returned to you.
Well, I'm not surprised by that for some reason.
But that's actually kind of smart. I would return it. If I would return it anyway. But even if I wasn't gonna, I definitely would if I knew.
There's a reason people
something.
in Japan respect the law, and it's because their laws make sense, apparently.
Yeah, I lost my wallet once. It had like 50,000 yen in it, which is what it's about $500.
It's like $4.
And I got it back completely. But they didn't ask for the reward money, which was weird.
But aren't you required
to
give it to them, whether they ask for it or not, if it's a law?
No, they handed it in anonymously. There was no way to. I mean, the police just give it to you, and they say, "Well, the guy didn't ask for a reward. I don't have any details." So there you go.
When asked by a Redditor, hortographer, what did you have to drink that night? He responded, too many sake bombs with a Dane. Danes can drink a lot. So there you go. If you meet a Dane in a bar, just
with an iPhone 4,
don't go for the sake bombs, because you're going to end up being sued by Apple, and it's just not going to be worth your time. He also said, when I plugged the phone into my computer, it asked for a version of iTunes that didn't exist yet, and it bricked the phone. I don't know why it bricked. Maybe because you plugged a phone that doesn't exist into an old version of iTunes. Maybe that's why.
it could be.
Just saying. I don't think I would have tried that. Yeah, I'm just going to wipe this phone with, that doesn't exist yet with the... Anyways, we could get into more detail about why that's ridiculous, but you can check out the whole thread at reddit.com. There's a link at makeuseof.com in the description for this post. Moving right along then, Hulu, which I'll explain to James, is the site you can go to watch television on the internet. It's more popular than ever. It's both a subscription site and an advertising-supported site. It's more popular than ever right now. It's owned jointly by ABC, NBC, and Fox, I believe. I don't know if ABC owns it or if they just license their content to it.
I think they own it too. If I remember correctly.
Which would mean that it's one of the only things that News Corp and Disney and NBC Universal work together on, which is really makes it unique for that reason. And it's kind of a hybrid of the Hollywood and Silicon Valley systems. Well, its future is completely uncertain. It depends who buys it. There are a lot of different potential buyers. Dish Network is one. They would buy it, it seems, according to the New York Times, basically so that they would seem tech-savvy, but I'm almost certain they would ruin it by making it like a subscription-only service. A cable subscription-only service, to be specific. Or it could be bought by someone like Yahoo, which would probably keep it on the internet. So we don't know what's going on. But a side note, isn't it interesting that Netflix, which has no ads whatsoever and depends on users to pay for things, is on solid financial footing, but the ad-free paid version, Hulu, the ad-riddled version, is uncertain about its future. I mean, that's not really true anywhere else on the internet, is it? Where the paid ad-free thing is struggling.
Does Hulu have ads in the paid version?
Yes, and it pisses a lot of people off.
Yeah, that is kind of annoying. But I guess so does cable TV, and that's a paid version, and you get ads, so people should be used to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Poor Hulu. I never liked Hulu. I always liked Netflix, so.
I've always liked Hulu, but then again... Oh, come on. We're like official now, but you're still the pro-piracy pundit. And we're kind of subtle. Oh, we're not saying you should pirate, but you could. But now, James, this week's just like piracy. Yar.
I canceled my Netflix account.
Are you building a Lego eye patch? Because maybe you should.
I canceled my Netflix account the other week. It made me sad.
Well, there's not going to be any more Arrested Development for years, so there's no.
Yeah, but I just saw a commercial. They have another new show launching on Netflix. I forgot what it was called already though, so it just shows how much their ads stuck with me. But
yeah.
It looked moderately interesting.
Well, there you go. So yeah, Netflix's future is uncertain. Netflix is doing Hulu's future is uncertain. Netflix is doing better than ever. Amazon starting to get a decent footing into the market. We'll see what happens with streaming video in stateside.
I feel like Amazon doesn't really care about that. It's just like kind of like saying, "Hey, you bought Prime. Here's some shit you can
Here's some
watch."
free video, but there's a lot of stuff on there.
There is a lot of stuff.
They don't advertise it as a contender because it's probably not quite up to snuff. But if you have a Prime subscription, you arguably don't need Netflix.
Yeah, I saw. You know that show Under the Dome? Have you seen the commercials for that or watched the show?
No, is it like a reality show?
No. It's based on a Stephen King book. It's about a town that gets put under like a futuristic-y dome. Anyway,
like The Simpsons.
Yeah, so I read the book, so I've been watching the show, and during the show they had a commercial that it's only streaming exclusively on Amazon Instant. So
yeah,
looks like Amazon's locking up some exclusive stuff on there.
They're getting some exclusives, but
that's a really big show. Apparently, it's doing massive ratings.
The big thing that's going to drive traffic apparently is who gets the rights to the most kids programming. Most of the content watched on these online streaming services is kids shows because it's easier than taking care of your children.
Yeah, give them an
that's
iPad
really
and say,
tragic.
go watch
Yeah.
this shitty... And then you can let them watch their kid show while you watch non-kid shows in the same room.
Yeah.
Give them the iPad
There you
and
go.
go to town, kid.
So we should do an audio stream as well for the podcast, is what Koshi's recommending. Apparently some people are having problems with the live stream. We're sorry, Google is better some days than other. And if you don't have the bandwidth, well, I guess we're just going to have to take Microsoft's stance with this and say, upgrade.
Suck it.
Well, no, we used to do an audio-only version stream. It's a lot of work to get working, and the video version includes audio. But if it's a huge problem, if a lot of people are having problems, we'll maybe look into it. We're
Just listen not live. Listen to the recorded version. Problem
Prism's
solved.
apparently still a thing. A new slideshow shows real-time data monitoring 100,000 active surveillance targets at any given moment. Is that the case, James? I assume you put this here.
I didn't read it. I thought it was
Okay.
It's your thing. You're the Americans here. You tell me about Prism. You know about it, not me.
Watching us. This is your problem. But no, it's one thing to not read stories other people put there, but to put something there and to not read it. I mean,
Sorry.
that's not okay.
I think the upshot of it is that all the companies who came out and said we don't give the NSA direct access to our servers, that was bullshit. They do. That's the upshot.
So the fallout from this is more people might avoid American services deliberately.
Am I being surveillanced?
No.
I want to be surveilled.
Neither am I, actually. I checked this. U.S. persons are not surveilled, so that includes me. 'Cause I've
I
got a
want to
green
be
card.
surveilled. This is
But
bullshit.
they are, though. I mean, who are we kidding? Come on, they are.
Yeah. I am not knowledgeable enough right now to comment on this. But it's complicated. It's definitely an overreach. There's a reason they wanted to keep this secret. It's probably a good thing that it's out. And we'll find out more, and I will read up in the weeks to come.
Prism.
Prism. I still say that's a solid name. Solid name. I mean, if you want to sound vaguely evil and technologically inclined, Prism works. Drug enforcement news now. The DEA has seized 11 bitcoins, which are worth, well, no one knows because Bitcoin's value changes by the second.
11.02 bitcoins worth approximately $814.
So how did they seize them? How does that work?
Well, I reckon they just took his computer. I mean, that's how bitcoins work, right?
I mean, no, so if they took his computer and he has a backup, he still has them, but he has to spend them before the DEA spends them.
It was my understanding you can only have them in one place at any one time. So
No,
your
no,
computer
you can-
generates like a unique key or something, and you have to
No,
send.
it's just a file. It's
Is it just a file?
Once you use it, the rest of the network knows that those bitcoins have been used, and the other. So yeah, you can back bitcoins up, and if he has a backup, he could use them before the DEA does. I'm assuming the DEA transferred the bitcoins after getting a hold of the drive.
So how does this work when you go to put it into your Bitcoin exchange account or something? How do they?
Okay.
How does that work?
So bitcoins are primarily, at this point, on people's own hard drives. Okay, you've got a Bitcoin client on your computer. There are web-based clients you can use, and in that case, you're trusting someone else to keep it secure. They usually offer some kind of encryption or something, but for the most part, it's just a file that's on your computer that's completely unique. And if you so let's say James thinks he's clever because he learned about piracy, and he thinks he can pirate money now, right? So James has one copy of the Bitcoin, and he copies it, puts the other copy on another computer, spends the Bitcoin on the one computer, and because James thinks he's so awesome, he thinks he can now go to the other computer and spend it again. No, the whole system has been spent, that someone else owns it now, and it will not allow you to use it a second time. The flip side of that is
what happens when you spend it, when you sell it to someone, when you put it into your account?
What's an account? I mean, there's no accounts unless you have
But
like
a Mt.
third-party
Gox
service.
account, because you
Okay, if you have it in a Mt. Gox account, that just means that that file is being stored. You've transferred it to them, basically. So now the whole Bitcoin community worldwide knows that
So it knows that
Bitcoin
they
is
now
at
own
Mt.
it and
Gox.
not me.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
that's how it works. So that's how
Okay, gotcha.
it's verified by everyone in the network knowing. I'm saying everyone knows, but it's really just the code that knows. It's not like you as an individual could track it. But all the other Bitcoin, so when you're a Bitcoin user, you are verifying other people's purchases when you're connected to the web. That's part of how the mining process works as well, is verifying those numbers. So the whole system confirms itself, and that's how it works decentralized. But the downside is if the DEA takes your Bitcoin and transfers it to itself, it's just you, and there's no central authority you can call to say, hey, someone stole my Bitcoins. It's like cash in that way. The best you can do is...
Okay, if the whole Bitcoin mining thing is confirming transactions...
That's one thing that it does do, yes. But
then
every computer connected... Go ahead.
Then why does it become harder to... Why does it become harder to have Bitcoins? Because surely you're still going to need to confirm transactions when all the Bitcoins have been discovered.
Arbitrary. That's a design thing. They wanted to limit the number of Bitcoins that come out a year. Otherwise, if everyone mined Bitcoins and everyone could get Bitcoins at the same rate forever and ever, inflation would take over.
No, I get that, but the whole mining process is confirming transactions, right?
Kashi's pointing out that the DEA moved the funds to their account. That's what I thought happened.
So if there are no more Bitcoins and no one bothers to run a mining client, then how will transactions ever work?
If no one's running Bitcoin clients anymore, then yeah, transactions won't work. But in order to use Bitcoins, you need a Bitcoin client to run.
But you don't need to mine it.
No, mining is just one of the ways Bitcoins are verified. It's not the exclusive way.
Oh, see, this is what confuses me about fake money. It's really
read the specs. It's all.
No, I didn't. I thought I understood it, but it's like quantum physics. You know, when you think you understand it, you don't.
It gets more complicated. It's a well-designed system. Let's not get lost into it. We have an unofficial talk too much about Bitcoin policy here on the show, but away from Earth-based money, let's talk about space-based money. PayPal Galactic is a new service from PayPal that allows you to use money in space. How is this different / practical?
Yeah, well, they've set about to solve the age-old problem of currency in space, which is actually quite a serious problem if you're all ready to build colonies and live on Mars, because you know you can be damn sure they're not going to be hippie communes, and there will be a binging Starbucks somewhere. The question is, how do you do this without carrying up tons of metallic shiny things?
Now, this Starbucks, is it going to have to ship in coffee, or are they going to grow their own? I mean, that's going to get complicated.
I think it's a legit question.
Yeah.
So, you know, once space hotels begin accepting tourists, they'll probably just charge room service to the customer's credit card. But after you have a full colonization, how are you going to go about paying for stuff? You know, people won't have credit cards, maybe. What happens when someone's born on Mars?
I assume there will be a Mars currency.
So, yeah. PayPal Galactic is not really a thing, it's just an initiative, a pledge to discuss these pressing issues like what regulations they'll have to conform to and how customer support will change. I think it really says something about the state of the Earth right now, that there's no one actively working toward getting a colony on Mars, but there are people trying to work out the financial realities if we do. I think that kind of summarizes where we're at as a society and where our priorities lie. Yes. And I don't think there's anything else we need to say about this. I think they wanted attention and to sound futuristic because PayPal... They do have a fancy-looking webpage and new logo, but yeah, other than that, next story.
I am amazed...
Justin Bieber's going to space.
Justin Bieber's going to space?
Yeah. Really? Can he stay there? Can we keep him there?
I heard he signed up for that Richard Garriott's company thing there, Virgin Space thing.
Richard Garriott? Is that what you...
I don't remember his name.
When he leaves, he'll like sign in the space guest book. That Space would have been a huge fan of his if it was around when he was. Anyways, sorry.
Virgin Galactic, that's the company.
Virgin Galactic. Oh, that's a ways off. Speaking of space, Japan.
What was that, Justin? That was terrible. Go on.
This is what we do on the show here. If you're a new fan. Terrible segues are kind of our specialty. No, space is futuristic. Japan is futuristic. It's natural. It makes sense, James. Shut up. Some old guy has sued a TV station for using too much English.
English.
Well,
so
James,
racist.
you've lived in Japan. It's so racist for me to
It's
say
not racist
English.
at all.
No, English is a legitimate thing. James, what's English?
All right, so well, English is just stupid English, but no, it's actually too much English. Not technically a technology story, I guess, but I thought it was hilarious. He's claiming undue mental stress because he, as a Japanese citizen, can't understand what a Japanese language news channel is saying anymore. And to be clear, he's not complaining about, like, say, English news broadcasts on a Japanese channel. He's
There are too
complaining
many
about,
English words.
yes, native Japanese language news broadcasts, which have now adopted, or should I say butchered, so many English words into their vocabulary that, even when a legitimate Japanese words exist for it, they will choose to use this fancy new English word. And what's most hilarious about all of this is that any English people listening to this don't have the slightest clue what the words mean because they've been so mutilated. So it really just screws over everyone. And I put together a little test here, so see if you and the listeners can see if you can tell. I'm going to give you some English words as they would be said in Japanese, and you've got to tell me what they actually mean in English, okay? So, travel.
Travel? It sounds like some kind of medication, some kind of paste you would apply.
No, trouble.
Trouble. Oh, okay. I lose that one.
Obviously.
Dave, you've got the next one. This is out of my league, I think.
All right.
Okay. Shishistemu.
System.
Oh,
Nailed it.
Dave, you're the man. Okay,
Nailed
next
it.
one.
You speak Japanese, don't you? Okay.
Next one. Concierge.
Concierge?
Jesus, Dave, you're amazing.
Whoa! Dave is an English
Wait, that was
expert.
right?
Listen to this.
Yes, I'd never heard that one. That's fantastic.
Awesome.
It's concierge.
Dave has been to
Stadio.
fancier hotels than us.
When hear that one.
Stadio.
Stadium.
Close.
Stereo?
Stadio.
Stereo?
No, studio.
What is going on?
As in like a live studio. Live stadio.
I've got a bandwidth sharing tip for you, Kashi and Philip. Use the same computer to watch it.
Yeah, dumbasses.
Okay, here's a very difficult one.
Okay.
Pasokon.
Popcorn.
Pasokon is a contraction of personal computer. It means
I like
computer,
that. I like that.
basically.
We just say PC, but they just made a contraction. There you go.
That's what it means. The last one, kombini.
Combining?
Combination? Combine?
It means convenience store.
Oh.
Kombini.
Wow.
Kombini.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
See,
Japanese
and this is
people
what
are
I was
crazy.
complaining about.
A lot of languages have this, right? Words that the people who live in those countries think it's like an Americanism, but it's completely not true. I know Germans call cell phones handies. And they thought, well, that's an English word. That's probably just what they say in America. That's why we say it here. So I've had a German ask me, like, can I borrow your handy? And I'm like, what are you saying? That is not a
Give
word.
me a handy. He didn't say that. Did he?
You go to the T-Mobile store and ask for a handy, you're probably not going to get it. What you
Stop
want,
it.
yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, funny little story. I like that one.
The internet
More
is a
old
weird
people
place.
news now. An old American guy, who happens to be Robert Samuelson of the New Washington Post, has written an editorial saying that the world would be better off without the internet, basically saying that while there are upsides, which society exaggerates, there are downsides, like cyber war and privacy invasion, and we'd be better off without it. This is not a great, unambiguously good innovation, like, say, radio or vaccines. This is just bad. The internet is bad. What do you think? I think the internet's kind of cool. My living.
I just gotta laugh when someone says cyber war. It's just
Cyber war.
You can't take anyone
By the way,
legitimate who says cyber war.
if you want just one reason to click through this link, this man's mustache is exquisite. I mean, I thought this kind of a mustache went out of style in the 1900s. Or 1800s, sorry. I mean, it's pretty spectacular. It's definitely the kind of a mustache that when you see, you think, I think he probably thinks there are more downsides than up to the internet. I mean, it's that kind of a mustache, but it's worth checking out. Anyways, let's just talk more about his mustache than we do about his opinion. There are downsides to the web's existence. I mean, we are vulnerable from a security standpoint, but I think there's more upsides than down. Dave?
Sorry, I was text messaging. I totally missed that.
We're somewhat professional now, Dave.
I know. Sorry, it was an important message though that I had to respond to. Family thing. So, anyway, repeat what you said.
I'm not repeating.
James, answer his question.
Sorry, what was the question? I was building Lego.
Oh, never.
Wow.
What?
We are the worst podcast ever. Why do people pay us to do this? I don't understand.
They didn't before, and they might not in the future. You should probably pay attention. Basically, this column, which I'm assuming you didn't read, because apparently you don't read stuff you put up yourself.
I didn't put that.
I didn't put it either.
Well, no, I put this here, so of course you didn't. Anyways. The argument is basically the internet has more downsides than up, and the media exaggerates the upsides and downplays the downsides. Do you think that there's an argument there?
Yes.
What is...
Why? No, let Dave talk. Why?
Okay.
I think that I don't necessarily agree with his thing about the media downplaying the upsides and but I do think there is a lot of downside to the internet with all the privacy stuff that's going on. This stuff was not nearly as much of an issue before the internet was so big, and if it was, people weren't as concerned about it. Maybe they didn't know. I don't know, but the ability to track people is much easier when they put everything on the internet. So there is some downsides, but I would never take the internet away. I love the internet.
Yeah, I love the internet too.
I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this without the internet. We would have to find like a radio station that would take us on, and we barely could find a website that would take us on.
We would need 3 different radio stations because we would.
Come
need
on, how is
studios
this any
in 3
different to some nut job saying playing rock music on the new radio, newfangled thing is dangerous for society? What a complete moron! Sorry.
Well,
yeah, but playing rock music on
throughout
the internet,
history, arguments like this have been made.
But playing rock music on the radio doesn't have any actual tangible like negative effects. Nobody's going to steal your credit card information because you listen to rock music.
Oh, well, it is. It's going to encourage all the young people to have rampant sex. That's what rock music does.
But that's not a tangible result. I mean, that's a theory. This you can actually see. Hey man, my credit card got stolen because I put it on the internet.
Absolutely everything they predicted would happen if rock music became mainstream. It did. I mean, there is rampant sex. I mean, I'm just putting the argument out there. All the stuff they predicted did happen. It's not like they were wrong. I mean, can you argue that they were wrong? Sorry.
Not really.
Anyways, we've talked about this before. I mean, anytime a new technology comes along, people say that, yeah, previous technologies were great, but this new one, this is bad. Douglas Adams had a great quote about it. I mean, any technology that's developed while you're a kid is perfectly natural and just part of how the world works. Any technology that's developed when you're 20 or 30 is interesting and exciting, and it might make you a lot of money. And any technology that's developed when you're 50 or over is just against the law of nature and is an abomination. I mean, that's just more or less how we relate to technology, right?
I'd like to hear what they're going to say about the Oculus Rift when it finally becomes mainstream. There's probably going to be a lot there.
End society as we know it.
The Rift will never be mainstream.
You're such a...
Something will be mainstream, but it won't be the Rift. The Rift is the first.
The Rift will become mainstream when Norton does something useful. Oh, wait. Norton Mobile Insight discovered a Facebook privacy link that was sending users' phone numbers to Facebook servers without permission. And if there's one thing Facebook needs, it's more private information of individuals. James, how did this happen?
Me? I have no idea.
Oh. Okay.
It happened through
It was. I assumed you put it there because it's not about gaming, and I didn't put it there. So
I put it there. I put it there.
Okay.
I only put it here because it's from the Android app, so it gives me a chance to laugh at Android. Ha ha ha! Your shit is not secure. Google Play says that hundreds of millions of devices have installed the application, and a significant portion of those devices are likely affected. So, yeah, you could put your phone number on Facebook if you want. And
I mean, lots of people do. My phone number's there because that was the whole point for me early on. Facebook was just a place where people could find my phone number.
Yep, and now it appears as though Facebook is getting those numbers without people even wanting them to, without actually putting it on Facebook. So that sucks for people. That's why you should get an iPhone.
You know what's frustrating is when I look up someone's phone number on Facebook and they don't have it. So good on you, Facebook, for trying to make it more useful.
Yeah, seriously. If we can get these phone numbers onto Facebook, yeah, that makes it more useful.
I'm all behind this. Good.
There you go, 100%. James Bruce, behind user links, behind the leakage of user information if it's convenient. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, James,
By
I
the
hate
way,
you.
sweet T-shirt, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Just came in the post today.
I like mine too.
Dave, is yours white?
Mine's blue. No, his is
No,
pink. It just doesn't show up on this camera.
Oh, right.
Maybe if I get closer. Here, let's see.
Yeah, there you go.
Does it look pink yet?
No,
So
it
these
still
are
doesn't look pink.
exclusive to make use of staff right now. They might be available for you, but we're...
It's such a light pink. It's so flowery and pretty, you know? Makes me feel like a dainty little flower.
James,
can't
move your
sell
dog.
these people.
Philip wants you to move your dog. Move it.
Where's my dog? What are you talking about?
I don't think, yeah. Anyways. Porn news now. The internet is only 4% porn, despite common complaints, or common reports of around 37%. We've been hearing exaggerations about the amount of porn on the internet. I assumed most of them were jokes, but now I guess we have a percentage thanks to this BBC News article, link in the description. Does this match your research, Dave?
I've found that it is about 4.7%, so it's pretty close. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty close.
I've been to every website on the internet, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure my estimations are accurate.
How are you keeping track of that?
In my head.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
I'm
So you
real
can keep that straight in your head, but you don't have enough time to read the stories.
or
before the
to
show.
pay attention to what you're asking a
Oh
question
my
about.
goodness.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Someone has been publishing stats about porn on the internet without actually making any real numbers, and now someone else has published some different numbers
Well,
while
about
still making them up.
32% of stats on the internet are made up on the spot, James. Everyone knows that.
I
And,
thought it was a higher percent than that, but all right.
That joke is used 5,000 times every minute somewhere on Earth.
Because when I read this story, it said something about they asked a couple of famous porn companies about their numbers, and I was like, well, that really represents porn on the internet as a whole, doesn't it? Because everyone gets their porn from legitimate sites.
Well, no.
These two
This
legitimate
is based on
sites.
academics who base the results on an analysis of the 1 million most frequented sites in the world. So, I mean, you could look at every single site and work out the percentage. Is it just websites? Is it the amount of time people spend on the site? This was just an analysis of the 1 million most frequented sites. So I think Make Use is among them. And most of the content on Make Use of, for example, is not porn, notably. So that would
Most
do
of
it one way. But if
Although, funnily enough, people do still search rather a lot for porn and sex on Make Use of. They don't
wait,
get a
they
lot.
go to
but
Make
they
Use of and
search
use
for
the search bar?
it. Yes.
Okay.
People are
Shame on
weird.
the internet. Don't do that.
I feel like that's just Koshi sitting there over and over again, typing in porn and sex.
Oh, I think we filled our. I mean, this podcast is only 4% porn. I think that's the rule we try to keep to. So we're moving right along.
Oh, no,
Texas
we have more
teen,
porn later, actually, sorry.
A Texas teen was arrested for an allegedly violent Facebook post. In response to a video game he was playing, he wrote that he was so crazy he was going to go to the school tomorrow and shoot a bunch of kids. And
Lol,
someone
JK.
lol, JK.
Yeah.
And someone from Canada, so again, sorry for Justin Bieber, sorry for this, reported it to the police, and that teen has been in jail since March. So, yeah, that's messed up. I mean, freedom of speech issues can get complicated when the threat of violence comes up. There is the constitutional. The Supreme Court noted that yelling fire in a crowded theater is not protected speech. Is saying that you're going to shoot a school full of children protected speech? What do you think, Dave?
I don't know. My opinion on free speech is always back and forth.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Would what he said be different had he just said, "I'm gonna go to your house and shoot you"? Like
LOL,
if
JK.
him- like if him and the guy were arguing, yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like, would that have landed him in jail, or is it only because he was threatening outside people who were involved in the debate? Like, I don't know, because I've heard plenty of people say like, man, you talk all this shit in the game. I'm gonna go to your house and see if you talk shit then. You know, like, is that any different? I don't really know.
So it was just a post-gaming trash talk session, basically.
But then again, I mean, I don't know why he would bring the. Why would he not just say I'm gonna shoot you? Why would he all of a sudden say he's gonna go shoot a school? That doesn't even make any sense in the context.
Why was this public online?
That's my question. I think
because he's a Texas teenager. They don't know anything. They're dumb.
People don't realize that they're broadcasting something. I mean, if this was just a private conversation, both sides would have known it was a joke and moved on. When you put it in a public Facebook discussion, you're welcoming this kind of outsider scrutiny. It's a bit of an overreach for this teen to be in jail when it was quite clearly a joke, but it wasn't clear to everyone who was reading it, and that's the point. I mean,
but he even said LOL and JK, so...
Yeah, but we don't use that in Canada, so that's why the confusion came up.
You guys use I, U, I, and Z,
something
R.
like that. No, we just say sorry when we laugh. We just
but
say
you say sorry
just
about everything, yeah.
Yeah, sorry just mean, yeah. So it's understandable that she didn't get that, so yeah.
Yeah, I think they went a little far on this one, but
I just can't believe that this kid is still in jail, but that's how it works. You get arrested, and then the trial has to happen, and Texas is busy killing people, so they don't have a lot of time to...
I guess no one could pay his bail, because usually you can pay bail and get out while you're waiting.
Probably not.
Maybe his parents were like, screw this kid. Leave him in jail, he's an idiot.
Having him in jail for a bit might teach him not to make jokes on the internet.
Yeah, so Koshi, stop saying you're going to do that.
Yeah, stop that. Oh, chat room, kind of disappointed today. We had to make use of Overlord here. He hasn't been helping too much. Cyber War, Cyber Sex are both ridiculous, and we are the best podcast ever. Well, I'll take that. We're the best podcast ever. I'll take that.
That's
Microsoft
Koshi,
news
though.
now. They have lost the trademark for SkyDrive in Europe because of Sky Broadcasting. Sky, of course, top-notch broadcasters, only the most straight news. They don't exaggerate anything, and I'm sure they've had perfectly balanced coverage on this story, huh, James?
No one's really talking about it, actually. No, I mean, come on, Microsoft. They've had Hotmail, MSN Live, Outlook, Mesh, Metro, then Modern, the Xbox 360, the Xbox One. They are so terrible at branding, and it looks like they're going to have to do it again when...
They've had so many brands.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen eventually.
Well, it has. It's happened many times before.
Hotmail.com was sued in the 90s by Hotmail.com, which was a completely different site, and there was a bit of
That was James's favorite website.
That was hilarious. Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
We're homophobic, and that's the origin of the humor. Is homophobia.
Speaking of Microsoft's branding, I finally got to witness firsthand the confusion between Xbox One and original Xbox. There was on the Giant Bomb podcast, they were talking about it, and they were talking about the original Xbox, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I'll just go ahead and pull out my Xbox One," and then he was like, "Wait," and then everybody got confused, and they weren't sure which one he was talking about, and he's like, "No, I mean the original Xbox." So Microsoft, you're dumb.
Yeah, they're not good. They're not great at branding.
So it's not clear if they're just going to have a fine or have to actually change the name, but
it seems like overreach, though. I mean, Sky doesn't have a product called SkyDrive.
Yeah, but they
have something very
Sky,
similar
as
to it.
words go. Oh, do they? Okay.
A couple of years ago, they launched a online storage thing called Sky something. I can't remember if it was Sky Cloud or Sky. It probably wasn't SkyDrive exactly, but it was very close to it. So
Microsoft just call it like Drive in the Sky and be like, we got you now. It's different, but it's the same. Yeah. You don't know.
Oh yeah, we got you.
We zinged you there, Sky. We zinged you.
Well, as we mentioned on the show last week, North and South Korea are at war, at least on the internet, with hackers in both countries trying to take down infrastructure in the other. Partially in response to this, partially in response to a rapidly changing technological landscape, the Pentagon, which is the nickname for the U.S. government wing that runs the military, named after the building. It's way more detail than you need. They're updating their conflict policies in cyberspace. They're changing when the Pentagon is authorized to use acts of cyber war, basically, and when they're not. Previously, there wasn't a lot of oversight, and it was kind of secretive, hush-hush stuff, so this is probably a move toward greater transparency, which in the wake of PRISM is probably a good thing. You can read more at the New York Times, link in the description. James, have you ever waged a cyber war?
Don't say that word.
Cyber
Don't say
war?
that bloody word. Don't
Cyber
say it.
war?
It's so stupid.
Oh, well, what word would you propose in place of cyber
For
war?
what?
Cyber
Hackers
battle.
working for the government trying to take out infrastructure in another country.
I don't think I would.
You wouldn't give that a name?
No, I'd just call it hacking. Actually, just say that. I wouldn't say they're conducting cyber war with a software bomb of nuclear destruction.
Well,
I don't even know what it's called.
What you call it matters, okay? And
I think it's a cool name, personally.
It is a weapon. I mean, let's not get this wrong. You're using a tool in order to inflict damage on another country. That is, by definition, war, isn't it?
The cyber war, do the rules of war apply to cyber war?
Well, that's what the Pentagon's trying to figure out here, right?
I don't know.
I
They?
mean,
Will they?
constitutionally speaking, in the war, if there's a war, Congress is supposed to approve it first. If you don't call hacking war, then the government can just do it whenever they feel like, with no approval whatsoever. Which is
What do you mean, kind of like they are?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
by calling it cyber war, by using that word, and by nailing down policies on it, they're trying to add more transparency to the process. But I know that that's something you obviously oppose, James.
I don't think it really matters what they call it. They're going to do it anyway, and they're going to spy on us all in the process. I'm a bit resigned on that point, to be
James
honest.
Bruce, with the cynical point of view, as always.
I'm waving out my window to the government right now.
Oh, hey, government. Well, why
There's no
do
point. You've got your webcam on and you're running
You're
Google.
streaming
They're watching
live
you.
to the internet. They don't have to spy through the window right
You
now.
think you think the government is watching Technophilia podcasts? Like they don't have anything better to do with their
It's
time?
a lot easier than
know
watching
it.
through your window.
Yeah, but this is what I'm putting out there on purpose. What's going on over here,
What
off
we
the
don't know
camera?
is
You can't see that there's like a chicken over here right now, like singing a song, but you don't see it. But they
Hey, did
do.
you order your chicken diapers yet, James?
I didn't. They wouldn't ship to England.
Oh, that's a damn shame. I
It's
sent
the
him
most
chicken
depressing thing
diapers as a joke, and he's actually wanting them now. So
Everybody-
I'd love to bring them chickens.
Oh,
I did look for chicken nappies in the UK. Didn't find any.
Oh, well, there you go. That's just too bad. The immigration bill has been working its way through the Senate. It's unlikely to make its way through the House. We're not going to get into a lot of political detail here about why that is. But it's notable that this bill could, if it passes, create a massive database of everyone in the U.S. Here's the idea. To get a job, your employer would have to first get some kind of identifiable information about you and look you up online, make sure that your social security card and everything else is legit. The idea being that if illegal immigrants can't find work because they don't have their papers in order, basically, they won't come here in the first place because there's no point if you can't find work. A lot of people are calling this a big win, but it does create one centralized database of everyone in the USA, and if history can be noted, even if you say this should only be used to verify employment, it will eventually be used for other things. I mean, Social Security numbers only use it for things related to Social Security, and the government uses it for everything. So, yeah, could be a massive database of all of us.
How do you not have this already? That's stupid. How do you employ someone without verifying whether they're an actual employable person? Whether their visa status says they're okay?
The UK has that right now?
Of course we do. You need a valid visa to work. And you need a tax number so that they can tax you correctly. If you go like that, it's illegal to hire someone who isn't...
I mean, so right now it's illegal to hire someone who's not here legally, but it's hard to tell because there's no centralized database. So this is going to make that exist. The equivalent, I mean, the UK is tiny, so the equivalent would be if the European Union implemented something like this, basically.
This seems so obvious, I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, there we go. That's it. Libertarians, leave your comments below. Let's move on to the gaming news, the portion of the show we like to call James's Rift loving and Microsoft bashing, but of course Dave will get a few words in now and then. What's our top story this week, guys?
Well, Valve has announced full Rift support, not only for some of their premier titles like Half-Life 2 and Portal, but now they've baked support into the Source engine itself, so anyone who makes mods for the games can easily add Rift support, like as easily as yes. You can progress support, yes. And I think this is a really big step forward, just more evidence that people really do care about the Oculus Rift, contrary to what Dave's opinion would be.
No,
well, Valve,
it means
Valve
that Valve cares.
Linux, I mean...
Valve cares about anything that it thinks it can make money on.
Yeah.
But it isn't just Valve. I mean, Call of Duty has leaked with support.
Well, there you go.
I believe that when I see it.
We'll see. I mean, maybe James is right. Maybe the Rift is revolutionary and will change gaming forever. Maybe it will become a footnote of history, and people who listen to all of Technophilia will wonder why you talk so much about it. We don't... You who are listening to this 5 years from now in the future, let us know in the comments how it worked out.
Yeah, and more Rift. We also had our first taste of hentai games on the Rift as a Japanese company this week released a quick demo of something they're working on. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it. It's fairly boring, actually, but I did want to say that this could...
Is it like augmented reality, where you just look at a person and then tentacles are wrapped around them all of a sudden, or is it...
There were no tentacles, but you can be damn sure there will be at some point.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it, but I did want to say that this could really sell the Rift in Japan. I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but about half of the games in a game store are varying degrees of hentai and short skirts and anime girls. So you get that stuff on the Rift, and my God, this is going to take off in Japan. Unlike, say, the Xbox 360, which Microsoft was fairly resolute on their policies of, yeah, we're not having those kind of games on here. And look what happened. It didn't sell a damn thing. And then you have the PlayStation, on the other hand, which has hundreds of these kind of games.
Well, if Nintendo's taught us one thing, it's that Japan is literally the only market that matters when it comes to video games. So I'm sure that means the Rift is going to be fine. Yeah, good point.
Well, I think I'm predicting huge success for the Rift in Japan right now.
Yeah. Fortunately, no one ever calls you out on your predictions when they fail. Oh, wait. Dave totally will.
Oh, hee. I'd like to see that happening.
The Kinect 2 will not work on Windows.
Yeah, this is kind of Rift related as well, actually. I mean, a big thing with VR stuff is that you need better control methods, and right now people are working on using the Kinect to have full body motion support in games and stuff with the headset on. But they've announced, and people were really excited for the Kinect 2 because it's going to be far higher resolution, much better at this stuff. But then Microsoft announced that actually you won't be able to use the new Kinect with your PC. It won't plug into it at all. You can't. We're not going to let you do that. Instead, you're going to have to buy...
You couldn't use the old Kinect with the PC, but people made unofficial drivers. No, Microsoft...
you can.
Microsoft eventually released official drivers, but long before they did that, there were unofficial ones. So why is this going to be any different? Why won't there be unofficial drivers? How can they stop you from doing that?
It may not even plug in. It may use some proprietary plug that PCs don't have.
So someone does some soldering, and then there's a $5 plug adapter you can get. I mean, this has all happened before.
But having it be hardware restricted limits the amount of people who will do it greatly more than software.
Because the old Kinect, you could just plug it right in. Was that the case?
Yeah, it came with a proprietary plug, but then it came with an adapter because old Xboxes didn't have that plug, and that adapter was just USB that let you plug it into, and it came with like a separate power supply.
So rather than buying an Xbox One and then being able to use your Kinect to do cool stuff, they've actually just said instead, no, you're going to have to buy this $400 Windows Kinect developer kit, which I think really screws over the community.
Well, I'm sure someone will put out a $30 adapter kit for the Xbox.
I think it's actually very smart by Microsoft, though. They're not in the business of helping the Oculus Rift be better.
Well, clearly, that's why they're going to fail.
Akashi wants to know if he'll get arrested if he says he wants to kill his ISP. Well, an ISP is not a person.
Well,
if you said you wanted to kill a specific person at your ISP's company, then you'd be arrested.
You may get arrested development, Philip says. No, you won't, because your internet's apparently so bad that you can't stream video. So That joke doesn't even make sense, Philip. Shut
I
up.
would like to arrest Koshi for being Koshi.
There you go. Well, we can't. We don't have jurisdiction in India yet.
I have jurisdiction everywhere. I'm Dave LeClaire.
We've got jurisdiction on the internet, I think.
Yeah, we run the motherfucking internet.
Moving right along. Just what you always wanted, Windows 8's apps on the Xbox One. Oh, this is revolutionary. You're going to be able to install apps you don't use on the Xbox. I think this is a game changer. What do you think, Dave?
I think it's actually kind of cool. I don't know what everybody's bitching about. The more shit that I can do on my Xbox, the cooler it is. I don't know. I see no problem here.
I actually kind of agree with you. I think it's kind of cool because there are some cool apps for Windows 8, and this was part of the point with the Windows 8 ecosystem, right? These apps are designed so that they can run anywhere pretty easily. So it's
basically
actually kind of cool that you can do that.
My Xbox would be like a computer hooked up to my TV, which I actually have a computer hooked up to my TV, but now I could have this in addition. So I don't see anything. I mean, sure, a lot of the apps will probably
I think
suck.
you're so wrong about this.
Say you're a developer, right, and you've got cool video content and you want to get it out to people. Now, if you make a Windows 8 app, you can also advertise that it'll work on the Xbox. And
there you go.
The controls will probably work pretty well with the Kinect. So.
And you can have millions more people who aren't going to buy your app because no one buys Windows 8 apps and no one uses Metro.
Yeah, but they may when it's on the Xbox. Because
really? You think that's going to change
UI?
it? Because that's the thing that everyone really wants on their Xbox, to be able to swipe in from the side and bring up some crappy Maps app.
People buy a lot of shit on their Xbox.
Justin, man. Dave, apps are kind of cool. James, apps are stupid. No one wants them. So
it's not. It's not.
No. Windows 8 apps. Let's clarify this. Not apps in general.
Okay.
But the point is, the apps are not hurting anybody. They're there if you want them.
They are.
Who are they hurting? Oh, wait, I would love to hear this. Who are these apps hurting?
Well, the fact is that the Xbox One has to run the Windows 8 kernel in the background. That's eating up a lot of memory.
Yeah, but it has a dedicated
kernel already.
It was running its own
I'm confused.
kernel.
Wasn't the Xbox 360 is based on?
Yeah, but the Xbox 360 gives over its hardware to whatever software is currently running. There's no way
Windows
there's no
8
start button in the corner or something, right?
Windows 8 apps are not like Windows apps. They don't require that you have some Windows API in order to run. They're basically web app.
No, you're
They're basically web app.
The Xbox One runs two parts of its system. It runs effectively two operating systems at once. There's the gaming side of things, and then there's the Windows 8 side of things, and then there's another one which ties them both together. I get why they're trying to do this, but the fact the Xbox then has to run this connector and the Windows 8 kernel together instead of just the gaming thing means it's losing a lot of power. And
but
we're going to see that in the long run on the PlayStation versus the Xbox One. You're going to see the difference.
It's built with that in mind, and no, you won't see the difference. You'll see absolutely zero difference because the games are always developed to the lowest common denominator, so you'll see absolutely no difference. But
yes, you will when they start pushing these systems.
It's the same thing with the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. The PlayStation 3 is like 10 times more powerful than the Xbox 360. Absolutely no difference, and in most cases, the games are worse on the PlayStation 3 because they build for the lowest.
I've ever heard, seriously.
Go look it up. It is 100% factual. 100% factual. Ask any person who makes video games. They build the games for the lowest system first, and then they upscale it to the higher one.
Even those exclusive titles.
Well, okay, exclusive titles, fine. But those are not what are the deciding factor for people. They're gonna go. Most games are not exclusive. They're gonna go with whichever one they want.
Look,
on the system.
pissed off in Mac OS X because I have to run the bloody dashboard. I'm pissed off in Windows 8 because I have to run Metro. I don't want to run pointless shit when I'm...
Am I the only one on the planet who still uses the dashboard? I've got my weather.
I have a calculator. That's right.
I've got a remote for my media center.
I have my calculator on there, so I can quickly pull up a calculator whenever I want.
I've got my delivery tracking widget is fantastic. I made a little web clip that shows how much I've worked on different things. It tracks my time.
No one uses that. What is wrong with you?
This just in. I'm not a person.
Trust me, James. You won't.
I'm going back to Lego. Screw you guys.
You won't notice the difference, especially if the system is designed with that in mind. Then it will give the power to that.
I don't want Windows 8 on my bloody Xbox. Which bit of that don't you understand?
So don't buy an Xbox One. Yeah. No one's making you buy one.
I'm not. I'm not gonna.
Buy a PlayStation 4. You'll be
I
fine.
really want the dance party thing though, Dance Central.
That's the selling point on the Xbox One?
Wait.
The fucking
You have
dance
told us
game?
that Japanese games are crap because they're childish, and you're psyched for Dance Party 4.
I didn't say Japanese games are... I said they're perverted. That they are.
No. These are previous conversations. Like,
Oh, we're talking about Nintendo. Oh, Nintendo's crap because it's childish, yes.
But you
okay,
want
but this
the
Dance Party
Central
game. That's cool. That's awesome. Zelda, bad. Dance Central, sweet. Real gamers can play. Okay.
You already disregarded my gaming opinions well long ago, so I just don't care.
I was going to say, James's games opinions just get worse and worse. I don't want the Xbox One because it's got Windows 8 apps, but the big exclusive that's selling me is Dance Central.
Really psyched about Dance Central. That's
fuck
gonna be
that!
awesome. Okay.
Fuck that new game from Respawn. The
Oh man,
that game doesn't look cool at
I
all.
will probably get a PlayStation.
Oh man.
Why don't you just get both, like a normal person?
Oh, okay. Here's the top story of the week. Make Use of is giving away a wiki pad. Dave, you have had a chance to play with the wiki pad. You've got one there right now.
It's behind me in the box.
Now this is an Android tablet, but it's got.
Get that shit out, Dave. Get it out. Get it out.
No.
Get it out.
It's packed up to be shipped to the winner.
Get it out.
You have no idea.
He's not getting it out. He's not getting it out.
You have no idea how complicated this fucking box is, alright? It took me like an hour to package this box. It is not getting open again. So, there's proof that I have it, though. So, the wiki pad...
There we go. Okay. And it just plays regular Android games? There's no games especially for it?
So, it plays regular Android games with the touchscreen, and then it plays games that the developers code to work with the buttons.
Yeah.
The company WikiPad has a very simple thing that the developers use where they don't have to do hardly any work to make the games work on it. It's just a couple lines of code. So it's very easy. Most of the games that are on it now are like shooters, and they play very well. They need aim assist in order for it to feel good on the joystick, and some of the games have it, some of them don't. The ones that don't have aim assist feel kind of clunky. Otherwise, feels pretty good. Overall,
can you just use it as a regular tablet?
Yep, the tablet pulls right out of the gaming thing, and it's just a little 7-inch. It's actually, from what I was reading about it, it's basically a Google Nexus 7 with a better processor in it.
Got it. So, latest version of Android, Ice Cream Sandwich?
4.1, not 4.2.
Okay. And Google Play?
And that's Jelly Bean, not Ice Cream Sandwich.
Got it.
Google Play, it also has PlayStation Mobile, which gives you access to like PlayStation 1 games you can download and a bunch of like exclusive mobile games, and the NVIDIA Tegra Zone, which is where you get most of the controller games.
That's a nice selling point.
Overall, I've never used an Android tablet before. I actually really liked it. I thought it was really fast. Everything loaded smooth. All the Google integration is very nice, like having Hangouts built right into it, all that good stuff.
That's why you were so quick to get it boxed up, even though it doesn't have to be shipped out for another month.
Actually, the reason I was so quick to get it boxed up was because I was afraid if I kept using it that I would decide I wanted to keep it, and it cost $250. And I didn't want to have to buy it because I would have to buy it myself to keep it. So I was like, you know what? I'm putting this in the box. I'm putting it away so that I don't end up keeping it because I didn't want to spend the money.
Is your dog eating your Lego right now, James?
No, he's just being really annoying. Get off, Lucky.
Okay.
You put him up there. I saw it.
Only
So anyway,
put him up there. Get off!
Here.
So overall, I like
last
the
story.
device.
Imgur has a meme generator now, and there's actually a bit of a story behind this. You can see the link at the Daily Dot. But basically, what was it? Quick Meme?
Yeah.
Quick Meme was the most popular before. Yeah, it turned out one of the moderators subreddit who didn't talk much, but he constantly deleted links to other meme sites and promoted links to Quick Meme. So now Quick Meme's basically banned, and Imgur has stepped in and made their own meme generator. So there you go. That saga's dealt with. But Imgur's been working hard lately. We're trying really hard to get someone from Imgur onto the show so we can talk more. We'll let you know how that goes in the next couple of weeks.
I like the one. It's just like a girl in like a bathing suit top, and it says, "I don't know why this is a meme, but I'm glad it is."
Dumb.
For more on sexism in the media, tune in next week. So yeah, let's get to tweets from Make Use of readers, and some pitches from other people. We don't have a lot of time, so we're going to kind of rush through it. Kashi, I'm sorry, I don't think we're going to get to Reddit today. But Tim Schafer designed some pretty famous adventure games back in the day. He asked for $400,000 on Kickstarter. I think it's like a year later. He's asked for more money to complete the game because it's not done. Dave Harak seems to think this is BS, but I think people who run Kickstarter, who contribute to Kickstarter campaigns, are now learning how frustrating it is to deal with creative people. I mean, I think this is just the reality. Like, as a company, it's very frustrating to deal with creative people, and this is part of why. Yep. I think we're seeing that with a lot of things. I mean, when you pitch something to a company, stuff goes wrong, and it sucks, but you have to work it out with the company what you're going to do in order to develop it. And if you're working with a good company, they'll be understandable. They'll be understanding. They'll see that the product you're developing looks exciting, and they'll okay you for more expenses. If you do a Kickstarter and then you try to do this, well, let's just say I think you're going to get a bit of a different response. I don't know. Maybe Tim Schafer's fans are so hardcore.
He asked for $400,000. He got $3 million.
But now he doesn't have enough money. So apparently the money just made him more ambitious.
Right. I think he thought. I think he. It's the same thing that this kind of thing happens in video game development all the time, though. People ask their publisher for X dollars, and then they need more, and we just don't see it, and the game comes out, and we're happy with the end result. But we didn't.
It happens in the background, right? I mean, only in extreme cases like Duke Nukem Forever does the public ever hear that this is happening, right?
And only in extreme cases does the publisher say, "Fuck you, you're not getting any more money."
Yeah.
And the game gets shit on and dropped. But usually it just goes on without us hearing about it. The game comes out, and we're all like, "Yay, this game was good," but we don't realize that it cost 10 times more than they initially estimated. But he should have
sometimes the company's happy to pay more money if the game looks promising.
But in the public's defense, he should have been more careful, knowing that he's not dealing with a publisher; he's dealing with people.
It's a completely different situation.
So he should have known that.
Understandable that they're going to be upset.
But I bet you he gets funded again. I almost guarantee it. Because people are like, "Well, I've already put in money. I want the game." So I bet you he gets funded the second time without even a problem.
People want the game.
I'll have half the game. Just give me that.
Well, that's what happened with Duke Nukem Forever. You basically, when it came out, you got half the game, and it was a piece of shit. So
it could be nice of him to give a demo and then decide if people want to back it. I mean, it could be crap. In which case, no, you're not having more money. You've already wasted that.
I'm pretty sure it's not going to be crap. I mean, you probably won't like it, but you're not a fan of the adventure genre, and that's why he turned to Kickstarter. Publishers don't fund adventure games anymore.
Except for The Walking Dead.
There's still people out there who want them. Yeah, Telltale Games did The Walking Dead, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Telltale does
a Rift adventure game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yes, I understand where Dave's coming at, saying that it's BS, but it's also just part of how Kickstarter works. A lot of people, Kickstarter projects sound so awesome in the beginning because you're trying to convince a bunch of people to give you money, and then you have to live up to it, and it can be hard. I've talked to companies here that have dealt with this dichotomy too. It's something you really have to take seriously.
Kind of like how I got an Ouya in the mail and it bricked right after I turned it on the first time.
Right, of course.
That wasn't even a Kickstarter one, was it? That was a
no, that was a consumer one, but it all started on the Kickstarter.
Oh, back to Kashi's never-ending Bitcoin update. It's dipped below $90. Bitcoins are now trading at $88 US. So.
Oh no, I just
there
broke
you go.
The outline.
Do with that as you will. You hit enter halfway through. Now I don't know what's going on.
I fixed it.
Let's get to a few links from around Make Use Of articles. I asked the editors at Make Use Of which articles they thought were the best on the site this week, and we're going to quickly discuss them. We're running out of time, so I'm not going to do... well, we ran out of time half hour ago, let's be honest.
Yeah, we did, to be honest.
What's the Internet of Things, and how will it affect our future? Just Internet of Things concept that not a lot of people know. This kind of goes over it. Basically, more and more stuff is connected to the internet besides just computers. So you can read more about that. And can you make a living out of ethical hacking? I'd be fascinated to.
I have a friend who does that.
Who does that for a living? So it is possible.
He got a good job with a contract with the government, and he was doing just finding vulnerabilities for them.
They bought his little pet project, something he called Prism. I don't know.
He
Oh,
was.
that's my company.
Yeah, he's making an ass ton of money though. So yes, you
Okay.
can, but
Yes,
you have
you
to
can.
be extremely good. He
Yeah.
is extremely good at what he does.
Joel Lee wrote about 5 free VPN services, trying to figure out which is the fastest. You can break that down, though. I think James will be the first to tell you to avoid the free ones.
Yeah, why would you use a thing specifically to protect your privacy that's free?
Your piracy.
That's Freudian slip there.
The truth
Protect
comes
your
out.
privacy. Don't use a free thing to protect your privacy. That's stupid. It's just like using Facebook. You're not the customer. You're the product.
Blogger extraordinaire Chris.
Wait,
Hoffman
hold on,
wrote-
real quick.
Oh,
So
go ahead.
James, what paid one do you recommend? Hit us with a name
there you
right
go.
now, real quick.
You can see.
I'm at the moment using privacy.io.
And how much is it?
I forget. Sorry.
Thank
I
you
don't know how much I
for.
paid.
And do they give
helping.
the NSA direct access to their database?
No. The record's kept. That's all.
Blogger extraordinaire Chris Hoffman outlined how to change the system language in Windows 8. I was surprised how much easier it is, because I remember previous versions of Windows, you basically had to reinstall if you wanted a different system language. So that's good if you want to teach yourself another language the hard way, the equivalent of jumping into the deep end of the pool. You can change your system language, and there you go.
Is it really
Tim.
that hard that it requires a tutorial to change the language in Windows 8? Seriously? Is that difficult?
Everything's hard in Windows 8. You got to dig through so many
That's
settings.
a good point.
But no, in previous version of Windows, it was basically impossible to change the system language. Like, you just could not do it. And if you need to change the system language, it's probably because you can't read the language it's in, so having an article with screenshots is probably helpful, because you don't know what the words are saying. Just saying. If someone gave you a French computer right now, you think you could figure it out? So it's good to have
Yeah,
a
I
reference.
understand French.
Oh, fine. Italian.
Okay, well then now you've got me, haven't you?
You speak French? I had no idea.
I don't speak it.
You don't come across as cultured at all.
Okay, I just lived in Japan for 8 years. I'm not cultured.
That's not a culture, that's a cartoon. Japan's not real.
All right.
Is Japan a real country? Bye, Japanese listeners. 6 reasons you're going to love iOS 7, outlined by Tim. I wasn't super convinced, but then again, I'm not an iOS user. The commenters really seem to love it. But no, it looks pretty. We'll see. We'll see what the world thinks when iOS comes out. There are some
Yeah,
great.
go ahead and go and make some silly comments on that article, because I read it and I'm an Apple fanboy and I thought it was complete fluff.
Well, could happen. Tim's working on a manual about how to use iOS 7. I'm looking forward to that.
What, the one that hasn't been released yet?
Yeah, he's testing it now, and then when iOS 7's released, we'll put the manual out like day after. We're going to try to do this more often with stuff now. We did it with Windows, or with Microsoft Office 2013, and people liked having a guide right away as soon as it came out. Yara outlined 6 reasons to buy your girlfriend an iPad, and before you say that's sexist, she is a bona fide girl, so that is the point of view she's writing from. My only complaint about the article is this could have been about any tablet, but I've convincing enough. Whatever.
I don't
Was
like
this
that.
actually a joke piece? I can't tell. It wasn't obvious.
You can ask Yara about that. Maybe we'll have her on the show.
We
Was
happen to
was
work
it
with her.
supposed to be
so-
sarcastic or something?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Anyways,
Okay.
that's according to Make Use of Editors, some of the best stuff from this site, so check it out. It's in the summary. And that's what we've got this week, isn't it? Unless someone really clever in the comments has something else.
Man,
Did you
I
guys
love
hear
our
that
comments.
the head of Xbox went to Zynga?
Yeah, saw that.
That's weird.
That's a bit of a step down in my opinion.
Well, Zynga makes a lot of money, but yeah.
Not as much as they used to. Their numbers are way down lately. So maybe
Yeah.
he can turn it around. Probably by getting Windows 8 apps to run in Facebook.
I was gonna say, just like he's really doing a great job of making everybody love the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
iPad is so
the-
outdated and overpriced. Apparently, you're not keeping up with the latest technology. Outdated? I think you're not keeping up. Yes, outdated. Just because they have a newer version not too long ago doesn't mean it feels outdated when using it. I know full well what it can and can't do.
What are you
Apparently,
reading,
don't know
James?
much about Android. I'm reading the comments. I love the comments.
Whatever.
Is there any homophobia or sexism in there? Because
No,
we need to
come
moderate
on.
that shit. Where
What
is
were
this
we
coming?
talking about? I
Give up.
forget now. Oh, Steve Ballmer is going to directly run the Xbox. They're not replacing the head of the Xbox. Everyone on the team now has to report directly to Steve. And
For at least for
helmets.
now.
Helmets are being issued to everyone on the Xbox team in order to avoid the chairs, which tend to fly a lot.
And to avoid the shitstorm that's going to come on them when the Xbox One releases.
What the Xbox could use.
A shitstorm?
Developers.
Oh. I thought...
Typing.
Developer. I've now used my 2 jokes about Steve Ballmer. The internet's 2 jokes about Steve Ballmer, really. So with that cutting-edge humor, I think we can wrap up the show here. Thanks so much for listening. You in the chat room, I'm sorry that the stream didn't work out for you today. You can download the audio version. You can't chat with us live, but it's kind of the same. We talk.
Well, you can still
kinda
tweet
cool.
us or Facebook us after.
Yeah,
the
you
fact.
can tweet us in real time. I'm at JHPot. Dave is at SideOx. And I don't know what your hashtag or your username is, James, because you never
I don't do Twitter.
think positive thoughts, and James will feel a little tinge of anger in response to your positive thoughts. And
Think
that's the best way to
positive
keep-
thoughts about the Xbox One, and
Yeah,
James
just think
will...
about how awesome the Xbox will be, and James will wake up in the middle of the night sweating
Yep.
with rage.
Totally.
So that's how you can get in touch with James, or you can email him. You should email him a lot. So if you like the show, leave us a rating on iTunes, subscribe to makeuseof.com, or you can subscribe to the podcast for now at technophiliapodcast.com. There are some changes. There are some changes coming up with the RSS podcast, but the iTunes one should keep working. We will keep you up to date with all of that. Thanks so much. Join us on, well, let us know what you think of the show. We'll be in touch. We're all super accessible.
I didn't get very far with my Rubik's Cube solver. I've got like one arm. I'm on page 20 of 111.
Well, Dave, how did your texting work out?
It was good. Very exciting.
There you go. There you go. And I during the show ran a podcast, so we all got something done.
Yeah.
So thanks again. I think this might be the longest show episode, so we're going to end it there.
Peace up, A-Town down.
Chat room. What should the episode be called? Knowing that there's like Kashi and Philip today, basically.
I swear we had 20 people, and then now we've only got 10.
I think there was some problems with the stream today.
Now we have 9.
I don't think there was problems with this.
So we got to get some guests next week, but this was fun. This was a good one.
We should call it, I'm gonna rift your Xbox. Terror rift James's Xbox.
Terrific. Riftic.
This is a terrific Xbox.
Oh, man. We're worse at this than the commenters. I'm trying to think of what.
We're not racist.
We kind of are.
No, that's what we could call it, though.
Against Japan. I'm not racist, but.
How about, there was no funny, like, jokes like pandas and waffles in last week's episode.
If you want to know what the Sean Parker story is about, you can Google it, James. It's all out there. I just promised listeners we wouldn't talk about it, and then you want us to talk about it right away. That's not... I made a promise.
How about something involving cyber wars?
Stupid.
What? Why is that a stupid word?
It's just a stupid word. It's a stupid word that's designed to scare people. Oh,
It's so
they
racist.
said
No, it's not
war,
designed
it
to
must
scare
be
people,
terrible. It's like cyber terrorism.
All at war, the government has to get approved before they do it. Otherwise, they can just do shit like this NSA thing. If that's an act of war, spying on people, that's like, it's a good thing that word exists.
I'm really looking forward to software of mass destruction.
Yeah.
That would be.
I mean, no, Stuxnet. Do you think Stuxnet is anything other than a weapon of war? I don't.
the headphones off.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't think of a title for this week. I really can't.
It's hard, isn't it? We got to get a guest next week. I mean, maybe that'll get listener interaction up a little.
We should just call it James is not a gamer. James hates games.
I need a good picture of James from Facebook first.
James likes poop.
Humans, the real threat to life on Earth.
What if we just stop titling the episodes and just call them like Technophilia 70?
No, that's too. I mean, we can name it after the guests in the weeks to come when we have like guests.
What about
One of your wife licking your head.
Technophilia
I like
70? I'd make use of that.
that. Fired. You officially no longer have a job here. There we go.
What about... Man, there was no like overarching theme this episode. It was just long and filled with nonsense. Wait, that's all the episodes.
Check that out, guys.
What the hell is that?
That's the art for this week.
Who's that ugly bastard?
That is an ugly man right there.
Oh God, no! Don't! No! No! No!
Why are you using a
Why
picture
would you
of
do
James
that?
as the thing?
Because he's not a game.
Make the title "This Man is Not a Gamer." This man hates games.
It's not as good as just a picture of you, and it says "is watching you." That was my favorite.
Yeah, especially because I had ice on my eyelashes, which just made it even creepier and weirder.
There we
Pretty
go.
weird already.
This man hates games. It's not as fun as the panda, but I like it.
I think it works though. I like it.
This man hates games.
I find it to be very sexy.
When I think sexy, I think James fucking Bruce.
How come your Photoshop's all black? My Photoshop is like light colored.
I got the latest version. I think I can change it though.
I think I have like CS4.
Damn, Dave, you're
Defaults to
behind
this.
times there.
My piracy skills are not up to snuff, I guess.
Well, there's not that many advantages to get the new one.
I've actually started using a Google app for editing images in my thing called Pixlr Editor, and it does all the basic stuff just fine, and it's right in
That's
my browser.
Great. For articles, I've really started using ImageSmith, which came with that free package of Mac apps that was out.
Oh, I remember that thing. I prefer not to run apps. I prefer to keep everything in my web browser.
You're the opposite of James. We should have a discussion about that sometime.
Yeah, I don't like, and I mean, hell, if I could play Dota in my web browser, I would.
I love taking an image out of context, and that's
Speaking of which, I'm playing Dota right now. If anybody would like to watch.
Hell, if I could get rid of my web browser and only use apps, I totally would.
they should
But
make an
my Dota
app that can
stream's
browse
at
the
a different
web.
location than it used to be.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it, James?
That sounds pretty awesome.
I'm gonna make a web app that can browse the web. Actually, you can try Ubuntu online, and you can use the web app. You can use the web browser. You can use Firefox inside Ubuntu, inside your browser. So that's how I'm going to use the web from now on. Is inside Firefox, inside Ubuntu, inside Chrome. Yeah. Okay. So
What
we've got
hero
the art.
should I play in Dota
This
in this
man
game?
hates
I don't
games.
know. I'm gonna play the Drow Ranger.
So that's that. Where should I upload the art? Just put it to make use of?
You can put it in the chat this time. I might remember.
Okay. And then when we do the post, yeah, we should. I think it's time to get offline. Thanks for listening, everyone. Let's not talk about site security stuff while online. See you guys.